I think I have the perfect answer to solve the question of how is Mineplex going to survive in the future. Because right now, when I'm recording this, there's like 1,000 people on, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more. Like that's a far cry from like the 11,000 people that joined on the server on day one. And I know a lot of people were just checking out just because it was the new thing, and I know like players will drop off. Like it's only at 1,000 players consistently on my region. So, a question is how can Mineplex, further themselves? How can they stay relevant? How can they stay alive and not fall into the same traps that happened in the first place that got them shut down? And I think I have the answer, because I've been thinking about this as well. Like, how can Mineplex be relevant? How can they get new players on? Because you have to look at what people are playing now. Like the new gen players, what are they playing? And look at the more popular servers there. In that case, actually the Donut SMP, not Hypixel. And you may say, what does the Donut SMP have? Well, it has new PvP. It has Crystal PvP. It has Mace PvP, Spear PvP. That is a solution. That's the answer. What I'm saying is that Mineplex needs to add the newer combat mechanics into their game. Because they've also said, Mineplex also said that they're going to make new games in newer versions, like with One Block, which is actually on Mineplex. If you go into the NPS, you can actually play One Block if someone's hosting it, which is really cool, really fun. But they need to add more combat stuff, the new combat stuff. And I'm not saying they should immediately make a new game based off of that right away, because that may not work with the player base. What I'm suggesting is that they should take pre-existing games and make different versions of it. Like, imagine Cake Wars, like normal Cake Wars, when you have Crystal PvP Cake Wars, or Mace Cake Wars, where you have the newer weapons, there's the newer versions, and it's still the same game mode, but you can choose if you want to play it. Same with Skywars, or any PvP things, survival games, all the PvP games that they have, I guess excluding Super Smash Bros. I don't know how it would work like that, but all the other PvP games like Champions, that sort of thing, have another version of it that's just the same game, but with the new things to get not only new people in, but not only that, they'll also get the current player base on board to sort of test out, because myself and I think a lot of people who play Mineplex, we don't use that form of combat. Like, I don't use Crystal PvP, I don't use the Mace and the Spear in combat. I don't know how to use that in PvP, and probably a lot of the player base on Mineplex doesn't know that as well. So having a pre-existing game to sort of teach us how to do it will be really cool. And also give them like data on like if this is actually like are people going to play that? Like, is the current player going to play that? Are new people going to join in? And if it's a success, then they can add in a new game, a completely new game mode that's just entirely focused on that sort of thing. Because I think having mini games based in the new PvP combat would be so well, because that's what Mineplex is based off of. Mineplex is a minigame server, so having minigames that have the new combat would be such a genius idea. Instead of doing SMPs, do what they've always done and do these quick small mini games, but instead of having regular sword PvP, it's just Crystal PvP. I think that'll be so much fun. And on top of that, I can imagine thousands of players joining. That's something that's not being done right now. Like a minigame server having original minigames that focus on Crystal PvP, Mace PvP, Spear PvP. Like, imagine that for like quick mini games, like original mini games on Mineplex, along with the other mini games. Because with 1,000 players that could potentially join, they would then start playing the other mini games, like that aren't necessarily traditional PvP. I can see Super Smash Bros. Getting a resurgence, or even paintball getting a resurgence, because those aren't traditional PvP things in vanilla Minecraft. So I can see those type of mini games that aren't vanilla PvP start getting a boost in players. And that'd be really cool, because it would help the entire server. Just like how Skyblock helped Hypixel stay relevant, how those players, those thousands, those tens of thousands of players on Skyblock sort of drain down to these smaller game modes to keep those games player bases healthy. That could be the case with this, and that could make Mineplex sort of stand on its own and not rely so much on nostalgia, and they can move away from that and have a new era. But I'm gonna end things here. Do you think my idea is stupid? Because I think it could work, and I think that could actually be the solution. But what do you guys think? Because I'm gonna go now, so goodbye everyone.